Alright, fantastic. It's Sam and Kris from Noiz doing the YouTube content. We're just having a conversation with Mastiff, who just come off the stage for us. I want to start by talking about the new record. I've read recent reviews, and I'm going to read some lines from you, sort of described as more of a hardcore band now, rather than a sludge metal record. Do you agree with that assessment? Is that fair to say? Do you like that? Is that piss you off a little bit?
Or? Yeah, we're sort of trying to, not aiming to get away from sludge so much, but that was just the way it led, when we were writing, it does, as any band.
Yeah, of course.
You don't know where it goes, you don't know where it goes, and that's where it turned out, so, yeah, I think it's a fair assumption that
fair assessment
we're heading towards more of a hardcore sound now.
So you talk about that, that's where it went with the writing. Was that a conscious decision where it's like, lads, we want to do something a little bit different, we want to start changing the way that we produce and write music a little bit, or was it natural? Or?
I don't think we ever really sort of set out with a game plan ahead of time. It's usually we'll just sort of write a couple of songs once we get into writing mode and see, and then they usually sort of set some sort of precedent, and we'll be like, well, this is the vibe that we're getting from these songs, it's feeling good, let's sort of continue down this path. And it deviates, and you still end up throwing yourselves a few curveballs down the road.
Chucking a couple of solos on, and a couple of out of there, not hardcore signature moves at all, and stuff like that. So yeah,
spin kicking, things like that.
No, you try to make it diverse and put a solo in, because there isn't very many hardcore bands that do solos. So you know what I mean. So,
if ever, really.
Yeah.
So was it ever conscious at all, or was it like, I have this riff, this could go in this direction, this could go in this direction, this could go in this, and it sort of follows along quite naturally?
I think we kind of we'll take something into a room and then let it develop organically. I think whenever we try and aim for one sound specifically,
try and fit a blueprint or something,
it kind of kills it. So me or him will generally come with something and then kick it around a bit, see what happens.
We'll find that whichever one of us sort of brings a riff in, the other one usually ends up sort of if not layering other stuff on top of it, or just sort of pulling it apart, or changing the tempo of it or something. It always sort of morphs into something else than we might have originally envisioned, and it's why we work as a band, I think, because we're just sort of
process, right? You get a natural reaction to a natural development of the song.
Yeah, and we just we remain open to each other's ideas and thoughts, and try not to go into any sort of idea that we've germinated with too strict to a set of guidelines. We have to be somewhat flexible.
Yeah, you need a level of compromise, I think, for it to work.
Absolutely.
We don't really ever have any turbulence or arguments and stuff. So
that's good to know, considering the aggression of the music.
Yeah,
it's quite benevolent between each other.
Yeah,
odd that it works out that way. All the aggro comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's phenomenal. So, I read recently you did an interview on the 18th of April, I think it was, and you talked about the importance of doing a hometown show for the first time on a recent tour, and how nice that was to sort of come back and do that. Does that change in terms of your approach, set lists? We're going home, therefore this might work, this might change our approach, we're going to sort of involve the crowd a little bit more. Does anything tweak at all, or is it we're Mastiff, we're back in Hull, this is how we're going to... Pretty much,
We very rarely sort of change our approach.
We don't do any Fine Young Cannibals covers or anything like that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We'll be honest.
Reddit comments just kicking off now.
I mean, we'll be honest, for a long time, we had... hostile would be a strong word, but we had, a relatively indifferent response whenever we played at home.
They impressed me, bro. Horse you or fuck you, here we go.
Yeah, we weren't treated like hometown heroes or anything. So we used to treat, and still do treat Hull, kind of the same as any other. But I feel like since Leaving the Ashes of the Earth, something sort of clicked into place, and now when we play at home, people seem naturally up for it, which is a nice surprise.
We're not a set of bullshit artists, I guess. So. That's how people see us now. So
there's kind of a whole generation that are younger than us coming through that really heavy stuff at the minute. And there's a bar called the Polar Bear, and there's younger kids putting bands on from all over the country.
You've seen sort of different faces of the crowd that you might have seen 5 or 10 years before.
A lot of the bands that have been headlining that play at Outbreak and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's called the Heavy Session, and there's young people doing stuff, and I always think that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we can jump on that, I think that's cool as well.
Well, speaking of that, you talk about the sort of changing face of the audience and younger people maybe seeing a Mastiff. Has the cyberpunk appearance changed anything about the audience that you're seeing, or was it kind of oh, these are kind of the crowd that we've been anyway. They might also be playing games like this. You know what I mean? Is it
we've
changing?
seen like a big change anywhere.
No.
From that.
Maybe
It was
physically.
Okay.
If you click on like a YouTube,
Yeah.
it's like hundreds of people just commenting that probably would never have heard anything
Yeah.
that we've kind of produced.
I got here because of ... kind of
Yeah,
thing.
well, we haven't. There've maybe been 2 or 3 people, like exception-wise, that have turned up at gigs and gone, oh, I'm here because you've got that track, but
Yeah.
it hasn't really sort of skyrocketed.
The
at all.
T-shirt that we made in collaboration with it, like so pitifully so. I think that maybe suggests that like the actual like dedicated fans.
But in itself, does it kind of reveal that the music you produce is actually for the fans that love you regardless?
Yeah.
And it's almost like more authentic to what you're trying to produce anyway, rather than it's almost like fair weather fans.
Yeah.
For sort of a year, and then,
Yeah.
oh, okay, they're not for me or whatever. The fans that love you are there generally. And sort of there's a real connection.
I guess, I guess we'd hope for that as well.
Yeah,
'Cause you don't
absolutely.
want people saying up for, I do that one track.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all been at gigs where
Absolutely.
Especially because that one track for us is like 70 seconds long. It's, if that's all people are coming
open
from,
and close with
it's
it.
going to be a bit
half
of a
an hour.
depressing night. We have played it more than once at shows before. I think we've like opened and closed with it. Pulled the full Limp Bizkit trick.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we're lazy,
Europe, final countdown to finishing
short
end.
encore. It's a 70-second track. So
yeah, we'll do it again then. Go on then. Go on.
Right. Spin it back round. So, like, obviously playing like a festival show tonight, like, we just played a festival show this evening. In terms of like, all right, new records, 10 to 12 year career, an awareness of like, these are some of the tracks that work, these are some of the tracks that we enjoy. How does that play into the setlist decisions? Is that an amicable conversation, or is it
currently
like...
it's like maximum movement?
Yeah.
Like put a set together that was hard, and like courage, maximum participation.
regardless of era, regardless of album almost?
Yeah, well, I mean, we are. I don't know whether it's just because we're like blissfully ignorant of like anything anyone wants from us, but we tend to just sort of please ourselves first and foremost. And we have like a notion that there are certain tracks from like previous releases that people are still into, and still sort of go kind of wild
And
for
also,
when we play. But
we've got to sort of read the room a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're playing with doomy bands, stoner bands, we will try and sort of maybe pick a couple of slower tracks.
Just
if
to
we've
suit the
got,
vibe,
yeah,
the
just a
sort
little
of-
bit. But generally, we like to be the sore fucking thumb on the bill. You know, like, why are they playing this? You know what I mean? So it's just like, okay, yeah, we like to be obtuse.
difficult.
Yeah.
difficult,
Well,
yeah.
that leads me on to my next question, actually. One of the classic things about you guys is the bio. The opening line of every review, Mastiff, a miserable band from a miserable city, Instagram bio, Facebook bio, everything else. For you guys, is that like, that's who we are? It's like an authentic, or is it like an ironic jab at criticism or anything like that?
No, it's the whole. We are a miserable band, and we are a miserable. You know, the whole is a miserable city.
Yeah.
But it's our city. Anybody else fucking insults us, you can get fucked. It's our city.
It's
and
our-
we're
it's
the only
ours
ones
to
allowed
be
to.
honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
you
I
know.
mean, I think like as collectively as a band, like the music we make, like that definitely lives into the miserable band thing. I mean, we're not gloomy goths sat at home like, you know.
But I don't ever
Crying.
think there'll be a singing chorus either. You know, I don't ever think that.
Foreshadowing for the next album. No,
Yeah.
no melodic sections. No harmonies, nothing like that. You know,
I think
fancy
that's
it?
kind of what we're going for.
Yeah,
We're always
key
gonna
change
be a
to the
bit
middle
of
like Bon Jovi.
bulldozer
Yeah.
of a band, really.
Westlife stand up.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could, you know, Mastiff. You know what I mean? Like,
As the third act key change.
Absolutely.
We're probably like the daftest people in the room at the same time as well. Like, you know, a car ride with us is just stupid.
Just chaotic.
Yeah, it's just
Well, we're the daftest people in the room when drummers with us. So.
We won't mention it.
no.
All is well.
He's out of shot.
If I could just jump in, just quickly, sorry, Jim, I interviewed you about 3 years ago for Noiz, and like we had this conversation then where you essentially were getting across the idea of, I wouldn't say everything in Mastiff is accidental, but there's no pre-planned idea, and you've kind of got the same idea across now. But I remember speaking to you about like one particular message that you were trying to get across. Has anything changed in that point between 2021 and now? With the new record, was there one particular idea you were trying to instill? Or is it still, I wrote a song that I liked and then my bandmates added ideas
Well,
to
no,
it?
they write the riffs, and I chuck my shit on the top. Generally, it's quite personal messages.
Yeah.
Probably we said we weren't the most political band back then. We've certainly taken on a political stance now. You can't ignore what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And I've got now a 13-year-old daughter, Jim's got a little boy, and so on and so forth. So you suddenly start to think, you know, not give those kids a voice, but because that sounds horrible. Or
Just feel like a responsibility on it.
Yeah,
a little bit.
You've become sort of a bit more acutely aware of what you're leaving behind and what example you're sort of setting.
Absolute shit is running countries.
When we spoke in 2021, the idea was probably not going to get worse than this, is it? And then, and then for the next 4 years, I was like, oh my god, it got worse than 2021. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, let's all look at COVID. COVID was like quite a nice time for most people, wasn't it? So, and now it's just like a boiled dog shit. It's just awful. So it does reflect on what we're writing about, or what I'm writing about. There is something new coming, and a lot of that is politically charged, but again, it does revert back to my loss that probably everybody knows about, and it's just an easy place to take inspiration from. So
the catharsis with that, you know, sort of like a release, like a catharsis.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I don't. People say catharsis about writing lyrics. I don't think it is. I think it's just. I just enjoy not reliving what I went through, but I enjoy sort of telling that story again in a different way, because my little boy was my little boy, and that was, I do like still remembering him, so that's how I do it. So there you go.
That's beautiful. That's a real nice touch. I want to sort of take it into a slightly different way. I did some research, obviously, leading up to the interview, and I read a review of your latest record off a website called Devil's Horns, so I'm sure you can piece together how this is going to sound, right? And I read a few lines from this. Bite radius straddles the oral cavity like a colossus.
I don't know what that sentence means, by the way. I don't know what that sentence means.
I want to add another one. The songs ooze with genuinely threatening riffs, not hypothetically, genuinely threatening. We've met each other now, and I agree with that. So, and Mastiff appeared to understand the riff, is what a review I read recently.
I would dispute
Touch and go. I have I understand it myself, kind of thing. So, like, when you see sort of reviews like that, right, it like, is that proof of concept for you guys? It's like, actually, the fact that people sat down and like, you know what, these riffs are fucking hard. Is that like plan A succeeded, big tick?
Yeah, I would say so.
You know what I mean? Like, regardless when we get to any, like, sort of, like, we talk about politics, talk about anything else, first things first, right? Fucking. Let's hear that sledgehammer. Is that the way that you almost want to define it? So when you hear reviews like that, that's almost like, yeah, we've done that job.
It is absolutely. But I also think, I mean, I can speak for myself here, whether any of the other guys agree. But like, I also like read those reviews, and I love it so much. But I'm also like, I can't take it on board or take it seriously. Like, I enjoy what we do, but I'm also like, the notion of anyone else like people that write these really sort of like intense and quite sort of verbose diatribes about our albums.
Like, you sat around and said, you know what, lads, let's straddle the oral cavity.
You put a lot more thought into this record than we
do.
do.
The right riff, it's got to be straddling that oral cavity.
We're just 5 knobheads in a fucking room, writing riffs and shouting shit about whatever.
Wholeheartedly appreciate every nice word that anyone has to say about us.
Yeah, that is incredibly
You think about my band a lot more than I do.
The last thing I was going to think about is like the attitude that you guys give. Do you feel like sometimes you're the people that take Mastiff the least seriously out of everyone?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, your fans take it really seriously, the journeys take it really seriously. And
we know where the little, we know where the fucking sperm come from. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, like I said, we're a bunch of idiots, and we just fucking hang around and we just get on with each other, and luckily we write, these two write riffs. He writes fucking amazing bass riffs, he's a shit hot drummer, and I've taught shit over him, so, and that is it.
Absolutely.
Going to close off, we're at a festival, so how could I resist asking? Resurrection's allowed, you can pick 3 bands for you that would headline your festival. Guaranteed 90,000 people sell out no matter who you choose. I'm curious, your 3 headliners. Resurrection's allowed.
Do you know who you want?
I know I'll pick. They might not make good festival headliners, but if I'm
Hey,
being
you
given,
guaranteed 90,000
Yeah.
select, man. Don't worry about
if
it.
got
I'm being
gunpoint,
given
don't
carte
worry about
blanche to like bring bands back, I'll never get to see again. I will have Van Halen headlines.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
With David Lee Roth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
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 They're on the same page.
Yeah. Van Halen, probably Rush.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, Ian Peter.
Because
Oh,
I never
come
got
on,
I
man.
never got to see them, and just to stay on brand, I thought bring Trap them back for a show.
Nice. Was not expecting Trap then.
Yeah, they're like one of
Nice.
my all-time favourites, and yeah, they should never have broken up. So bring Trap.
I can't think of any. Van Halen's, yeah, probably top, easy. And then. Oh, I don't- I
2-day
can't
Mastiff
think.
headline. Or...
Yeah, no. Oh, fuck no. Fuck off.
Did you play for Noisy Me?
No.
No. If for Resurrection, I'll bring my throat back after about 20 minutes. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, that closed off our interview appropriately. If like an ambulance turned up in. Come round here, we've got a few here for you. But it's been an absolute pleasure. So Mastiff with Noise, I really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you
fellas.
very much.
you so much.
Cheers for your time, boys.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
So much. Had a great time doing that, man. Thanks so much for your time.
Cheers, Jim. Thank you.
Fucking sick.
Thank you.
Have a good